All right, so today we're jumping into Genesis 35, and let me tell you, this chapter is like a whole epic saga packed into just a few short verses. It's about a journey, for sure, but it's one that's filled with divine commands, a complete identity shift, and, well, some really profound tragedy. We're going to break down the real cost of a divine promise. And that really sets up the big question for this whole chapter. What actually happens when a divine promise smacks right into human tragedy? Genesis 35 really makes you sit with that tension. That complex and often really painful relationship between destiny and loss. So let's start at the beginning of the road. So, our story kicks off not with a choice, but with a direct command from God. God basically tells Jacob's entire household, "All right, everybody, pack your bags, we're going back." Back to a place that holds some incredibly deep meaning in Jacob's past. And that destination is Bethel. Now, this isn't just some random spot on the map. For Jacob, this place is ground zero. This is where, years and years ago, when he was on the run from his brother Esau, he had that famous dream of a ladder to heaven. So this trip isn't just a move. It's a command to return to the very source of the divine promise that has shaped his entire life. But here's the thing. Before they can even set foot in this holy place, Jacob issues his own command. He gets that this can't just be a physical journey. It has to be a spiritual one, too. So he lays out this three-step purification process. First, get rid of all your foreign idols. Second, get clean. And third, change your clothes. It's a total symbolic reset before they can take the next step. And you know what? His family actually does it. They hand over their strange gods, and even their earrings, which back then were likely connected to pagan worship. Then Jacob takes all of it and buries it under an oak tree. Think about how final that is. He doesn't just toss them aside, he buries them. He's making a very clear, very physical break from the past before they can step into the sacred future. So, with the family purified, they finally make it to Bethel. And it's right here, in this sacred spot, that the whole story hits its peak. A truly monumental transformation is about to go down. Just as he was told, Jacob builds an altar. And he names the place El Bethel, which basically means the God of the house of God. He's doubling down on how holy this place is, and he's acknowledging the God who met him there all those years ago. And then, God appears to him again and delivers this absolutely incredible proclamation. This is the moment. His name is officially, divinely changed forever. And the meaning behind this change is, well, it's everything. The name Jacob literally means supplanter or trickster, which, let's be honest, really reflects his shady past. But the name Israel means he strives with God. So this isn't just a new name, it's a completely new destiny. It's a promotion from a deeply flawed individual to the patriarch of a whole nation. You have to appreciate the scale of this. Jacob, the man, the individual, is becoming Israel, the father of a people. His personal, messy story is now officially expanding to become the foundational story of an entire nation that will carry his new name forever. And along with that new name comes a powerful blessing. God basically reaffirms all the covenant promises. His descendants are going to be numerous, they'll form nations, they'll produce kings, and they will inherit the very land promised to his father and grandfather. It's an incredible, sweeping vision of a glorious future. But just as the story hits this unbelievable high point of divine promise, the tone shifts, and it shifts hard. The journey away from Bethel is immediately marked by grief. That promise of abundant life is about to get overshadowed by the harsh reality of death. The sorrow starts with the death of Deborah, who is the nurse for Jacob's mother, Rebekah. Now, her death is felt so deeply by the family that they name the place where she's buried Allon Bakuth, which means the Oak of Weeping. It's a detail that's easy to miss, but it's like the first tremor before a massive earthquake of grief. And then comes the crushing blow. As they're traveling, Rachel, Jacob's most beloved wife, goes into what the text calls a hard labor. That divine promise to be fruitful and multiply, given just a little while ago, is fulfilled in the most tragic way you could possibly imagine. As she's dying, Rachel names her newborn son Ben-Oni, which means son of my sorrow. It's just heartbreaking. But Jacob, maybe because he just can't bear that name, renames him Benjamin, meaning son of my right hand. So this one child's name holds both the immense pain of his birth and his father's desperate hope for his future. After all of this intense personal loss, it's like the narrative just hits pause for a second to take inventory. The camera kind of pulls back from the intimate grief of this family to give us the official record of a nation's founding lineage. And so, the text lists them all out, the 12 sons born to 4 different mothers. With Benjamin's birth, the set is now complete. This is the official roster, you could say, the foundational structure of what will become the 12 tribes of Israel. But tucked away in this formal list is a really shocking and disturbing detail. Reuben, the firstborn son, sleeps with his father's concubine, Bilhah. I mean, it's an act of profound disrespect, a kind of power play that's ultimately going to cost him his birthright. It's this dark foreshadowing of all the conflict and dysfunction that's going to plague this family for generations to come. So, after all the blessings, the tragedies, and the family drama, Jacob's long journey is finally coming to an end. He is finally returning home. So let's just do a quick recap of this monumental trip. It started back in Shechem with a spiritual cleansing. It hit its absolute peak in Bethel with a new name and a divine promise. It plunged into sorrow near Ephrath with Rachel's death. And now, it's all concluding in Mamre with a reunion that's been decades in the making. And this is it. This is the homecoming. Jacob, who is now called Israel, finally comes back to his elderly father Isaac in their ancestral home of Mamre. His long, complicated exile, which started all those years ago when he ran from Esau, is finally over. The chapter then gives us Isaac's age when he died, 180 years old. And his passing isn't just a footnote. It really marks the definitive end of an era. With his death, the torch is officially, completely passed from one generation of patriarchs to the next, from Isaac to his son Israel. And in one last really poignant detail, we're told that Isaac was buried by both of his sons, Esau and Jacob. These 2 rival brothers, whose fight started this entire saga, come together one last time to honor their father. It brings a quiet, somber close to one of the Bible's biggest family conflicts. And that brings us right back to where we started. Genesis 35 shows us that a legacy isn't built in a straight, triumphant line. It's a messy, winding road, shaped just as much by our deepest sorrows as it is by our greatest blessings. A divine promise is given, absolutely. But this chapter is a powerful reminder that the human cost of carrying that promise, well, it's painfully and undeniably real.